Florida scientists hope that these fluffy decoys can help with a very real problem.
He explains researchers turn to tech, hoping robotic rabbits can lure the snakes out.
When those words aired across Florida, they sounded almost unbelievable. Robot rabbits released into the swamps to hunt pythons? It felt like a headline written by science fiction, or maybe desperation. But for scientists working deep in the Everglades, it wasn't fiction at all. It was a new kind of experiment born out of a crisis no one could stop.
These solar-powered robo-bunnies move, emit heat, and soon they'll even smell like a real rabbit. All to fool Burmese pythons into thinking dinner's been served.
Each decoy hums softly in the dark, its solar heart storing enough power to mimic life. A pulse of warmth, a subtle twitch, enough to fool one of Earth's most cunning predators. Florida has tried hunters, dogs, drones, even bounty programs. Nothing has truly stopped the pythons. So now, they're fighting back with machines. This is not satire. It's the front line of an ecological war that's lasted for decades. And the question isn't whether the rabbits are real. It's whether they'll be enough. Because somewhere in that black water, a cold-blooded hunter is already moving closer. Long before the robots arrived, the Everglades was already under siege. The trouble began quietly, decades ago, with a handful of exotic pets that slipped, slithered, or were set free into the wild. A few became a dozen became thousands, and soon Florida's slow-breathing swamps turned into a hunting ground ruled by predators that didn't belong here. Burmese pythons, imported from Southeast Asia for the pet trade, found paradise in South Florida's warm wetlands. No natural enemies, endless prey, and water channels that hid their movements perfectly. They grew fast, some stretching over 18 feet, strong enough to crush an alligator, silent enough to vanish beneath a blade of grass. By the early 2000s, scientists began to realize what was happening. Small mammals, raccoons, rabbits, opossums, had almost disappeared. When researchers set traps in parts of the Everglades where life once rustled in every bush, most came back empty. The numbers were staggering. Mike Kirkland, lead invasive animal biologist with the South Florida Water Management District, estimates that up to 95% of mammals in some areas are gone. The food web that held the Everglades together snapped apart by a single species that shouldn't exist here. Hunters were brought in. Drones equipped with thermal cameras swept over the sawgrass. Trained dogs sniffed through the mud. Each method caught a few snakes, but never enough. Because the python's greatest weapon isn't its strength, it's invisibility. A body the color of wet leaves, a heartbeat that slows to nothing. An ambush perfected by millions of years of evolution. For decades, the Everglades has been losing ground inch by inch, not to fire or flood, but to silence. Every missing rustle, every vanishing track in the mud told the same story. The wild was emptying itself out. And when you can't find your enemy, sometimes you have to invent one that can. The idea began in a small engineering lab at the University of Florida, where the hum of 3D printers mixed with the croak of tree frogs outside. Inside, biologists and engineers shared blueprints, half-drunk coffee, and a question that sounded more like a dare than a design brief. Could a machine ever pass for prey? Funding came from the South Florida Water Management District, the same agency charged with keeping the state's waters alive. They'd tried everything: hunters, bounty contests, GPS-tagged Judas snakes, even drone patrols that painted the swamp in infrared. Yet the pythons kept slipping through. The solution, they decided, wasn't to chase the snakes, it was to make the snakes come to them. The first prototype was crude. No fur, no sensors, just a heat lamp inside a plastic shell the size of a football. They called it Model Zero. In a fenced enclosure, the team released a small python and watched from behind glass. For hours, nothing happened. Then as dusk fell, the snake lifted its head, tongue flicking toward the warmth. It struck. The decoy cracked, but recorded everything. The temperature shift, the movement pattern, the way a predator calculates distance before the strike. When the python uncoiled, the lab erupted. Not in cheers, but in quiet awe. They'd fooled an apex hunter with light and code. Weeks later came Model 2. Sleeker, solar-powered, wrapped in a soft silicone skin that radiated heat like living flesh. Its battery recharged by day. At night, it mimicked the slow thermal rhythm of a resting mammal. A motion motor caused it to twitch every few minutes, just enough to ripple the surrounding grass. Through a thermal camera, the image was haunting, a tiny glow pulsing in darkness, as if life itself had learned to imitate. When field deployment began, the cost per unit hovered near $4,000, pricey but cheaper than endless man-hours lost in the mud. Roughly 120 were built, each fitted with a tiny transmitter that whispered its coordinates to a central dashboard. Scientists named them like astronauts: Marsh Mary, Solar Scout, Rabbit 5. Every name carried a strange tenderness, the same way early sailors christened ships before sending them into dangerous seas.
And it contacts someone like myself who's available 24 hours a day, and then I can deploy one of our many contractors to go remove it.
From his control room, Kirkland watched dots move across a digital map, the first network of artificial life the Everglades had ever seen. Each dot pulsed like a distant heartbeat, connected not by blood, but by data. In photos, the rabbits look almost toy-like, their metal ears glinting under the sun. But out in the swamp, surrounded by silence, they take on another identity, sentinels of a wounded world. They don't hunt, they wait, patiently, relentlessly, and for a moment, standing knee-deep in water that reflects both sky and machine, you can't help but feel that something extraordinary is happening. Nature and technology, two opposites long at war, have found a temporary truce. But the Everglades is not a laboratory. It tests everything that enters it. And soon those delicate creations of wire and light would meet the creatures they were built to deceive. Night in the Everglades is a kind of heartbeat. Every sound has rhythm. Frogs, crickets, the slow churn of water beneath the reeds. The air smells of salt and earth and something ancient. Out here, even the stars feel closer, reflecting in the black surface until sky and swamp blur into one. This is when the work begins. Field crews set out before sunset, wading through knee-deep water with handheld receivers glowing green in the dark. Each beep represents a robotic rabbit somewhere ahead, a faint pulse on the map. They move carefully, watching for eyeshine, for the ripple that doesn't belong. Behind them, the truck engines fade into the distance, replaced by the hum of cicadas and the whisper of wind through sawgrass. Most nights, nothing happens. The dots blink steadily, silent sentinels in the marsh. But sometimes one starts to flicker. A sudden spike in temperature, a burst of motion picked up by the sensors. Phones vibrate across the control room miles away. An alert pings. Possible contact detected. Within minutes, a two-person team is en route. Their headlights cut narrow tunnels through the darkness. They park, step out, and let the night close around them again. One carries a noose pole. The other clutches a receiver that beeps faster the closer they get. The grass moves ahead, not from the wind. Something large is shifting, slow and deliberate. Then comes the sound every hunter remembers, the dry scrape of scales over stone. A python, thick as a man's thigh, slides toward the decoy glowing faintly beneath a palm. Its tongue flicks once, twice. Then it strikes. The hit is violent. A whip crack of motion, the sound of water erupting, the hiss of air expelled from a coil that tightens around steel. For a few seconds, the rabbit disappears under a living knot of muscle. Then a red light blinks on the transmitter. The sensors record everything.
If we can see statistically significant number of pythons that are coming to investigate these robotic rabbits in the pens, that would be a success.
By the time the removal crew closes in, the snake has realized something is wrong. The metal doesn't give. The warmth doesn't fade. It loosens its coils, confused, and that hesitation is all the hunters need. In a practiced motion, the noose tightens around the jawline, the tail thrashes, the flashlight beam dances, then stillness. They drag the python out of the mud, measure it, tag it, log the coordinates. Nearby, the rabbit lies half submerged, its casing cracked, battery still blinking. Another unit sacrificed, but not in vain. The data it gathered will join hundreds of readings. How long the snake approached, what time it struck, the ambient temperature before contact. Every number adds a pixel to the larger picture scientists are building. The first digital map of python behavior ever recorded inside the Everglades. Back at the control station, long after midnight, researchers transfer the data, clean the sensors, and mark one more success on the board. The swamp outside hums again as if nothing happened. But somewhere out there, another rabbit is waiting, silent, patient, powered by sunlight and hope. The first testing cycle, the numbers painted a complicated picture. Some of the robotic rabbits had done exactly what scientists hoped, attracting pythons, triggering alerts, and leading hunters straight to hidden predators. Others hadn't survived their encounters. One was crushed beyond recognition, its solar panel dented and smeared with mud. Another vanished entirely, transmitter lost somewhere under 3 feet of swamp water. And yet even the broken ones were valuable. As one researcher joked during a debrief, every destroyed rabbit means one less invisible snake. Each success felt small but extraordinary. A single battle won in a war no one expected to end soon. When you're fighting an animal that can vanish into stillness, even failure feels like progress. Still, the project's challenges were as real as its victories. Maintenance was constant. Heat and humidity corroded the circuit boards. Storm surges scattered units like toys. Raccoons tried to pry them open. Herons pecked at their sensors. And the swamp's heat, the same sun that powered their panels, often melted their casing into warped shapes. But for every setback, the data grew sharper. Researchers could now track how pythons respond to heat, scent, and timing. They learned when the snakes were most active, which areas drew the strongest reactions, and how far they would travel for a meal that wasn't alive. In those numbers, hidden among timestamps and coordinates, was the possibility of pattern and therefore control. Dr. Elena Vargas, a field biologist at the University of Florida, described it this way: "For the first time, we can see the Everglades breathing through data. Every signal, every approach, every disappearance, it's like the swamp is talking back." Her words carried both hope and unease, because while technology offered answers, it also posed questions that were harder to face. If machines could mimic life convincingly enough to fool predators, what did that say about the line between natural and artificial? And if saving nature required building its replicas, how much of the wild could ever truly be wild again? The robotic rabbits had become more than tools. They were symbols. Of ingenuity, yes, but also of consequence. They embodied a truth at the heart of modern conservation, that sometimes the effort to restore balance requires stepping deeper into the very imbalance that caused it. For now, they continue their silent vigil, scattered across the marshes, glowing faintly under the sun. They are the newest species in an ecosystem defined by invasion. Machines built to fight life with imitation. And while their future remains uncertain, one thing is clear: the Everglades will test them, break them, and perhaps, in some quiet way, learn from them too. Florida's python crisis is not unique. It's part of a global pattern written by the same human hands. Across the world, invasive species have slipped through borders and oceans, thriving in places that never evolved to stop them. In Australia, cane toads, introduced in the 1930s to control beetles, multiplied by the millions and poisoned every animal that tried to eat them. In Hawaii, mongooses released to hunt rats turned on native birds instead. And in the Caribbean, the lionfish, graceful, striped, and venomous, is now one of the most destructive predators in the sea. Each story begins with human intention and ends with human regret. The Everglades sits at the center of the same lesson, a living classroom for what happens when ecosystems collapse quietly, one species at a time. Decades of loss have reshaped the food chain. Where there were once rabbits, foxes, and raccoons, now there are only shadows. And in that vacuum, the python thrives, an apex predator with no natural enemy except time and persistence. Florida's scientists know this war cannot be won outright. Eradication is no longer the goal. Management is. The dream now is balance, a fragile coexistence built on vigilance, adaptation, and invention. Each robotic rabbit, each data point, each captured snake represents a flicker of resistance against an unstoppable tide. But for every advance in technology, the pythons evolve their silence. They grow smarter, more elusive, learning to avoid the familiar hum of machinery. It becomes a chess match between instinct and innovation, one played across miles of swamp where the pieces move unseen. And while Florida builds machines to fight biology, the deeper story lingers beneath, that humans created this imbalance long before the first robot ever touched the water. We love the exotic, the strange, the beautiful, the different. We imported it, caged it, released it, and when it spread, we turned to science to fix what wonder had broken. Still, the fight continues. Hunters move through the darkness with headlamps and noose poles. Boats drift down the canals, their engines whispering above the reeds. In the control rooms, researchers watch their digital map blink, each light a heartbeat of hope. Out in the marsh, the robotic rabbits remain, half buried in mud, collecting data even when their circuits fade. They are both fragile and defiant, carrying the weight of an idea that refuses to die. This isn't just a story about pythons and rabbits. It's about what happens when we finally decide to face the damage we've done, and how far we're willing to go to make things right. Because the truth is simple and humbling. Nature always adapts, and so must we. At sunrise, the Everglades looks calm again. Mist rolls over the sawgrass, painting everything in silver. You wouldn't know that, somewhere beneath it all, machines hum softly. The only proof that humans are still trying to make things right. The pythons are still here. The losses are still real, but so is the effort. Tireless, creative, sometimes strange, always hopeful. Because even in failure, these experiments reveal something about us. Our refusal to accept that destruction is final. Maybe that's what the robotic rabbits truly represent. Not technology, not control, but the will to repair. A heartbeat we built ourselves, flickering against the darkness we created. If this journey moved you, subscribe to Depths Uncovered, where history sleeps beneath the surface, waiting to be found. And somewhere out there, in the still water of a Florida swamp, a single solar panel catches the morning light. It glows faintly, a signal, a promise, a reminder that even in places overrun by silence, someone is still listening.